In 1959, 9 experienced hikers fled their tent in the middle of the night, barefoot into sub-zero temperatures, and never came back alive. What they were running from has never been explained. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a true story best left in the dark. In January of 1959, 9 young hikers set out into the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. They weren't amateurs. They were experienced, certified hikers, engineers, students, outdoorsmen, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. Their goal was simple: a winter expedition to reach Mount Otorten. They packed correctly. They logged their route. They were expected back by February 12th, but February 12th came and went. No one returned. At first, officials assumed delays, but days passed, then weeks. A search party was finally sent into the mountains. What they found would haunt investigators for decades. On February 26th, rescuers discovered the group's tent. It was still standing. Their food was inside. Their boots were inside. Their coats were inside. But the tent had been cut open from the inside. Not unzipped. Not damaged by weather. Slashed. One of the most chilling details came from the hikers themselves. Their cameras were recovered. The final photos show blurred lights in the distance, strange glowing orbs against the night sky. Some claim it's a technical flaw. Others believe it captured the last thing they saw before leaving the tent. The final frame is out of focus, as if the photographer was running. Footprints led away from the tent, some barefoot, some in socks, heading downhill into the frozen wilderness. Temperatures that night were estimated at -22 degrees Fahrenheit, -30 degrees Celsius. No trained hiker would leave shelter without protection, unless they believed staying was worse. The first 2 bodies were found beneath a tree near the forest's edge. They were barefoot, lightly dressed. Several bodies weren't just underdressed. They were wearing clothing that didn't belong to them. One hiker wore pieces from another victim, suggesting survivors tried to stay alive by scavenging warmth from the dead. But this also means some died first, and others lived long enough to make choices. Their hands were burned, as if they'd tried to warm themselves over a fire. Further into the woods, 3 more bodies were discovered, frozen mid-stride, as if they had tried and failed to return to the tent. But the remaining 4 weren't found until months later, buried under snow in a ravine, and their injuries were different. One had a crushed skull. Another had shattered ribs, damage compared to a car crash. Yet there were no external wounds. One woman was missing her tongue. Another had traces of radiation on her clothing. Not background radiation. Not explainable contamination. One of the victims had previously worked at a nuclear facility. Officials claimed this explained everything. But the question remains: why were only certain clothes radioactive? And why was this detail quietly buried in reports? Soviet authorities closed the case quickly. The official cause of death? A compelling natural force. No avalanche damage was found. No signs of another group. No struggle. The area was sealed off for years. Witnesses later reported strange orange lights in the sky that night. Was it military tests? Secret weapons? Something else? The files were classified. And when they were finally released, they raised more questions than answers. One modern theory involves infrasound, low-frequency wind vibrations created by mountain shapes. These sounds can cause panic, dread, hallucinations, and an overwhelming urge to escape. No noise, no visible threat, just pure terror. If true, it means the hikers weren't chased. They were overwhelmed. Some believe it was an avalanche, but the tent remained standing. The theory of katabatic winds were discussed. They are sudden, violent gusts of freezing air that rush down mountain slopes without warning. They can reach hurricane speeds in seconds. If one hit the tent, the hikers may have believed an avalanche was imminent. Cutting the tent open would have been faster than unzipping. But here's the problem. Adiabatic winds don't explain the crushed bones or why they never returned. There are theories of military experiments, yet no official records exist. In 1959, the Soviet military was actively testing parachute mines and experimental weapons in the region. These weapons explode mid-air, creating massive pressure waves without leaving craters. This could explain internal injuries without external wounds, strange orange lights reported in the sky, the sudden panic. The case files were sealed shortly after. Coincidence or containment? And then there are the darker ideas. That something unknown, something not understood, drove 9 rational people to flee into certain death. One recovered photo shows a dark, humanoid shape in the distance. Authorities dismissed it, but speculation exploded. A creature? A shadow? Or something watching from the tree line? No official explanation was ever given. Was it a Yeti? To this day, the mountain is known by its local name, Kholad Syakhl, Mountain of the Dead. Whatever happened on Dyatlov Pass forced 9 people into the freezing dark, without shoes, without answers, and without escape. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to be remembered. This is Mr. Midnight, and you have just uncovered a midnight relic. If you liked this video, or if you like extra butter on your popcorn, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more. Thanks for listening, my little chickens.